And a very good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Issues and Attitudes. My name is Jeff Owens, Director of WEIU TV and Radio. My co-host is Mr. Corbin Cox.
Hello.
Today we're going to talk to the Booth Library. We always talk to them a couple times a year, but today we have Brian Keith, the new Library Director of Services.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in, Brian. And also for the first time here, Amy Odwarka.
Hi, how are you?
Your title is Student Success Librarian at Booth?
Yeah.
All right. Well, appreciate you both coming in and getting to know you a little bit off mic and stuff, but I thought we'd start with Brian Keith, the new Library Services Director and Library Director, about, you've been here for a few months, came from Florida. Talk about your transition to Central Illinois.
Well, it's been going great. People have been so welcoming to me and my family, sincerely. That's been great. It's a terrific library. The faculty and staff of the library are really quite expert and great at what they do. And there's been a lot of generosity towards me and getting me up to speed. We are spending a lot of time talking about the future of academic libraries and how that fits in at EIU. And there's just been a lot of creativity. And I had a very good experience when I interviewed, and I've continued to just get really good feedback from people on the campus. One of the things that I really like is that the Booth Library is an academic library that's also a resource for the community. That's not always the case, and so it's going great. I moved here with my wife and my daughter, and my daughter's been very much welcomed into Charleston High School, and my wife's developing a circle of friends, and I mean, it's just been an excellent transition professionally and personally.
That's great. And Amy, you've been here a year.
I have.
And supposedly are the star on campus when you're with Brian. So talk about your first year at EIU and kind of your experience, what you do at Booth.
It's been really terrific. So I'm the first year experienced librarian, and I primarily work with all of our first years and transfer students here at the university to make sure everybody is onboarded and understands all the services that the library provides. But it's just, the library is a really amazing place here on campus. It's really the only place on campus that connects with everybody.
Yeah.
And so that's a really exciting thing to be able to work with anybody and everybody. And I also agree with Brian that one of the nice things is that we service the community also. And so it's not just everybody at the university, faculty, students, staff, but that we can work with anybody, and we have a little bit of something for everyone. So it's a very warm place, and a place that really wants people to feel like they belong. And that's a nice feeling.
As a student, I know some of the programs and tools you offer. What are some that you think are really underutilized by either the community or the students?
So I actually think one of the things that's underutilized the most is that on the webpage for the library, we actually have a live chat feature that's 24/7, and a lot of people don't realize it's there, or they don't know how to use it. But it's not it's not computerized. There's an actual librarian at the end of the chat, and it doesn't matter what time of day it is. So, if it's 2:00 in the morning and you're really struggling with a project or something, there's actually somebody at the library that can help you. So I tell people to use that chat all the time because it really can help.
I had no idea.
I didn't either.
There we go. Great.
And the other thing, the library is kind of in the heart of campus. It's right there. I mean, when you think about the access to it and things like that, is that one of the things that drew you to it? The fact that it's relatively been upgraded so much, but it's right there in the heart of EIU's campus.
It is, and it's almost like a small liberal arts school, as far as the campus and the way it's set out. That real traditional academic quad model with the library right in the middle of it. So it's the physical, it's also social and intellectually at the center. And as Amy was saying, one of the few interdisciplinary places. If you're affiliated with EIU, if you're an alumni of EIU, if you're a Charleston community member, it really is your library. Right there in the middle. We have events going on almost every night that are open to the public and or focused on students, and I mean, it really is a hub, and we're working to make it even more inclusive. We had a award from the university to create a family hub.
That's what I am.
And so one of the things that we're trying to do is to fill a niche for people who maybe primarily students that have children, but really anyone that's on campus. It's going to include lactation and feeding room that's going to be properly equipped. It's going to be a comfortable space for either a person or a person with a child. We're also going to have a group study room that we're converting so that somebody with a smaller child that really can't be out in the main part of the library, they're going to be able to study. It's going to have a workstation and also some things to engage intellectually and just for fun with the kid. And then also we're creating, as a byproduct of these changes, we're taking some musical equipment that people can use, electronic organs and guitars, and we're making them more centrally located and creating a jam room.
Oh, really?
And yeah, so it's going to be right off the atrium.
Okay.
And so if you come to the library, you'll walk by and people will be jamming on guitars with headphones on, but you'll be able to see it. So.
Now, where will the family hub be then?
So all of these, so the two facilities that I talked about are going to be on the 4,000 level in the south wing,
Yeah.
and they're open to students. They're open to employees of EIU. If you're a community member and you're in the building and you need those spaces, they're available to you as well. We're also going to get some additional loaning materials that'll be part of the Ballinger Teacher Center, which will include kits that people can use to, for learning and for play with their kids, but also it's going to enhance the programs. We have a lot of programs for the community and also the College of Education through that center.
One thing I didn't know also that I found out from some of the notes given to us is that you have laptops available for students who's either don't have one or maybe there's crapped out or like didn't get it charged right or whatever. So talk about the laptop, how students can take advantage of that.
Yeah, we do. We have a really robust laptop and technology checkout system. So students can just go upstairs to the 4,000 level, and literally all they need is their Panther card, and they can check out a laptop for a 2-week cycle, along with a lot of other technologies. And that program is also going to grow, which is really exciting.
So that's another really great investment on the part of EIU and in the resources of the library. Historically, that's had a pool of about 115 laptops, and they were almost always checked out. It's an incredibly popular program. We're getting an infusion of about 150 additional laptops, and those will be online in the spring, and it's really going to grow the program and make it available to a lot more people.
Okay. And kids can have them for 2 weeks, really? Roughly?
Currently, the program's been where you could check them out for 2 weeks. We're with so many more computers. We're going to think about what it looks like for the spring. So stay tuned on that.
There you go.
So.
Corbin?
That's already like so much growth just since I've been here, and I'm in my 3rd year. So what else are you hoping to achieve? Like, do you have any longer term goals, stuff you're looking at for next year, next semester that you'd just I want to do this?
Well, if we're talking about technology, we really want to be a place that provides democratized access to technology. And so increasing the sort of tech that we loan to people, things where people can do an oral history or, those sorts of recording devices, other technology that maybe you want to use curricularly, you want to use it co-curricularly, something that aligns with your academic program, but really stuff that you can use just for your own interest. It can be extracurricular. And preparing EIU students to go out into workplaces, into a life that's going to be full of technology. We're going to be, we've really ramped up in the area of artificial intelligence and kind of addressing that. Part of it is the idea of those generative AI tools like ChatGPT, and I think I said that correct.
Yeah.
And the idea that what does it mean for academic integrity, plagiarism, citation, those sorts of things. And it aligns perfectly for the libraries because we've been in that area for a long time. The other thing that we're doing, and we have some programs in the near future that are going to continue, where we allow people to come in and practice with them and work with other people who are more familiar. And we've been calling those a sandbox series. And I should let Amy talk about that. The other thing we're doing is we're building our collection in the area of AI. so that we're staying abreast of what's going on in the professions, what's going on in academia, and so that students in a particular that are preparing for a particular field at EIU, that we're building a collection that can be used to help them orient towards artificial intelligence.
Amy, go ahead and talk about the sandbox and some of the things.
Yeah, so we actually started off with this idea of how can people have an opportunity and a chance to really kind of get in and mess with some of these tools. I think a lot of people have heard of them and they know about them, but they're not really sure how to access them or what some of these tools can do. And that's really coming from all walks of life around campus: students, faculty, staff, community members. Lots of people are interested, but they're just not quite sure what to do. So we branded it as like a test drive. Like, what do you do when you go out and you test drive a product? And so we've been working with this. So we had an event a couple of weeks ago that was really well received. People really liked being able to come in and mess with a couple of different ones, and we had ones that were not just about text generation, but were about visual generation. How do you make a picture? How do you get AI to make a picture for you? And some people just don't even know that this technology exists or how to use it. So we have another event that's going to happen tomorrow night that's student-centered, and it's a chance for students to talk to students about how they're using these tools, how they're becoming part of their workflow, and what they know about them and what they don't know about them. And then we're going to have another event on November 2nd that's going to be faculty focused, where faculty will get a chance to come in and mess around with these tools and have a chance to talk to each other.
I think that's really good because I've spoken to a lot of professors who, when we got into syllabus week, they were like, I don't have an AI policy yet. I just don't know what that is about or what all that entails. So I think that's really good that you've got that outreach to the community.
Yeah, I'm really glad you mentioned that because I had the assumption that students were using these tools on a pretty regular basis. And after some of the conversations we've had so far, I've been surprised at how many students have said, yeah, I know about it, but I don't even have time to deal with it. I've got so many other things. And so this kind of gives people an opportunity.
And do you think maybe there's still that idea that, is it plagiarism or is it not? That's been, part of the, the national discussion of AI. And so it's kind of a gray area of where we're going into with some of this stuff.
And we're here to work with the faculty as they decide what the role is for AI in their classrooms. And we're kind of looking for their directions. And then our research support and the way in which we work with students on their assignments will reflect it. And it can mean many different things. I mean, some professions are going to be different. I'm old enough to remember when scientific calculators were introduced. And so I kind of parallel. I don't know if that's exactly true. If I could just say one more thing.
We got time.
So the event that Amy was talking about, so think of yourself, you walk into the library, there's 4 really large monitors, and each one of those, there's a librarian who's become versed in these different platforms or tools, and you get to come up and they kind of give you the lay of the land, this is what this tool does, and then you're engaging in it and coming up with examples. How can we make it do something weird? And so the students were there, and you could tell it was a very successful event when the students that came were like, well, can I work on the laptop? And we're able to show each other and to show us. And, we tried to work backwards. Why would it have this quirky response when I ask it to produce an image? And so it really is, the positioning the campus for people to start picking up skills that they're going to need over homecoming. I talked to alumni, and one of the things we, a lot of times ended up talking about is AI.
Yeah.
And they're dealing with it in their workplaces, and the students are here when they go out. They're going to need to be as familiar with this as possible. This is going to shape a big part of their careers, and the library's here to help.
There you go. Daily tours in October if people want to find some of these things, but also the nooks and the crannies and the behind the scenes. And back when I was there, it was called the stacks.
Yeah, they're still called the stacks. But yeah, we're really excited about this. So the research engagement and scholarship librarian team are going to give quick tours every day, every day through the 27th at noon and 3 o'clock. And they are quick. We like to focus on the quick because people are busy. But
See,
really,
I go the other way. I would think
Yeah.
people would want to take as long as, because there's no way your boss could be mad at you. I was at the library learning.
well, I think it's a little different when your faculty member says,
Oh,
why
there you
weren't
go.
you to class on
Darn
time? And
teachers.
you're like, well, I was taking a library tour. There might be a little extra credit in there. But we're really going to focus on what are the great spaces to be able to study. You know, you said nooks and crannies, and there are so many cool nooks and crannies to the library. And so there's kind of a study space for everybody. It's just a matter of knowing where they are and where to find them. So that's really going to be our focus as a place for people to be able to see the CSI and to be able to see where some of the technology areas are, but also what are those weird little places on the second floor that people don't know about in government documents that have great tables and great, you know, areas for people who are looking for quiet space versus the team that comes in, right? Like you're in a study team and you need an area for 7 or 8 people and you need to be able to make noise because you're practicing a presentation. And we have spaces for all of that.
The class 1111 is doing some stuff with you. Can you talk
Yeah,
about that?
we've also, you know, we were really thrilled to work with Dr. Davenport when they decided to redo the foundations class, which is UF 1111 or EIU 1111. And the library was able to put together a part of the class that actually is students are able to do all on their own. There's a couple of video modules that they do so that they can learn about how to get some help at the library, but also like how do you find a book? You know, like those basic things that are not easy. Right, and we're there to support people because we want them to have a successful chance or successful situation when they're at the library. But then it also encourages people to come do an activity at the library, and it encourages them actually in the project to find a study space. So the tours are to help with the study spaces.
Yeah, when I took that class, we did a lot of like, where is everything on campus? What are the resources that nobody knows about, like the legal center, the writing center, all of that stuff, which was really great.
Yeah.
You talked about the CSI. Maybe explain to folks what that is who are tuning in new today.
Sure. So the CSI is our Center for Student Innovation, and it's kind of our makery. So it's our place where people can go in and they can log time in there to be able to use all sorts of different technologies that have really great interesting outputs. So, I mean, Brian, do you want to tell them a little bit about like the 3D printing and the podcasting?
Sure. There's 3D printing. There's podcast booth. There's a Cricut device for people to make other sorts of physical material. It's an area where the technology is continuing to grow. There's also virtual reality, the idea of the equipment that allows you to do 3D modeling, 3D production. And so it's really going to be an area for growth. It's a partnership, kind of a union space between the Booth Library and the Faculty Development and Innovation Center, which is also housed in Booth Library. And one of the things that was really attractive for me, and they have a great staff as well. So it's a space that's kind of a combination of a tech lab, but it's also an active learning space where all of the furniture moves around. There's tablets, there's monitors. So it allows the FDIC to help faculty think through how they would incorporate active learning, more group work in the space and those sorts of things. And so it's really kind of a combination. And it's great to have the tech and the active learning, which may or may not include tech, having those things cohabitated. And it's right off the atrium. We have a very generous donor who's contributed some furniture for the space. So there's a nice landing area outside of it, just off the atrium. We're working on the signage, and if you're around, come and check it out. We have a librarian who works a lot in there. We have graduate assistants in there, and it's really a program that we see continuing to evolve and grow.
If someone was tuning in today and they were our age, they're probably thinking, this can't be talking about the library. Maybe for you two, it's like, this is what libraries have become. So the transformation of what was once a library is really now more of an educational center. I mean, is that the way to put it?
It is, and one of the things is the interdisciplinary or the disciplinary agnostic space of the library. It's really the space for everyone if you're a student. And if you're in a program that's less tech focused, though most are increasingly tech focused, this is a place where you can come and check it out and get exposed to it and think about how it might apply to your discipline, or it may just apply to your interests.
Yeah.
And so that's the other thing that's kind of, besides these sort of spaces, really with the libraries thinking of ourselves as a place for learning that doesn't even really have to be associated with a curriculum. It could just be, this is what I'm doing, this is my field of study, but I've heard about this and I'm interested in it, and take advantage of it while you're a student here and come and access technology and other materials through the library.
We're talking to Brian, Keith, and Amy Odwarka from the Booth Library here in Charleston on campus at EIU. Before I get to you, Corbin, the one thing I know last year that was a big success, and they're bringing it back, was the blind date with the book. Is that under you, Amy?
Blind date with a book is always a success over at Booth Library. It is so much fun to watch.
It's a cool idea.
Oh, people are just so excited, and they'll see you on campus and ask you when blind date's gonna start. Is it coming? What's happening? So we do it twice a year. Halloween is always a big one because people like a good mystery or horror story. And so it's been very popular. Once again, the books are flying off the shelf. And this year we've actually done a social media push with it so that people reveal their blind date when they do their unwrapping. And then they come back to social media afterwards and tell us, was their blind date like love at first sight, or did it really not work out and they're not going to really continue their relationship
I think
together?
It's a cool idea. So, go ahead, Corbin.
What are some other events like that you've had? When I was just looking at the website, I saw Write Nights and Study Buddies. Could you talk about some of those?
Yeah, sure. So, the library has kind of an even amount of activities that are community-based, where we want people to be able to have an opportunity to build community at the library. And then some of them are academic in nature. So Write Night and Study Buddies is actually kind of a little bit of both. It's the whole idea of having a place and a space for people to be able, students to be able to come and get some studying done, get that project started or finished, and we have lots of different people there to be able to help. So there's librarians, there's people there from TRIO, there's tutors there from Academic Success. Writing Center works with us on that so that everybody has a chance to kind of do one-stop shopping. And I should always lead with, there are snacks and there are prizes and goodie bags at most of these events.
That's how you really get them in.
Right, exactly.
Food on the snacks.
Yeah.
There you go. Can we talk? I'm going to go back to more personal. Each of you maybe talk a minute about yourself, a little bit about your background and your educational background, and how you kind of got to Eastern. So we'll let Brian go first.
Sure. So I'm a first generation college student, and so I was able to experience the transformative power of that. I went as an undergraduate to the University of Florida. And when I graduated, I went out and worked in private industry, and I recalled how much more fun college was. So I went back to UF and I got my MBA, and then I went and worked in private industry, and I was teaching at night through the local community college. I was working for a not-for-profit, and both of those were kind of transformative, the perfect finishing school for an MBA. I found out about a job at the University of Florida Libraries, and it really kind of transformed my life again. Was an associate dean at the University of Florida, got my master's in library and information science. And so I've been really interested in the idea of being a library dean, working with a group of really committed and skilled and creative librarians and staff to work on the future of academic libraries. I became aware of this position. I came curious. I left interested, and our president, Jay Gatrell, was the provost at the time, and he on July 1st became the president, and I became the dean of library services, and I was looking for a place like EIU before I knew EIU existed, and so it's worked out really good for us.
That's good. Amy?
My background actually is in K-12 education. So I came out of I taught middle school for 24 years before I came to
Did
Eastern.
you start when you were 7?
Huh? That's awfully nice of you. So I have a really deep background in K-12, and making the transition to higher ed has been a really wonderful move. I was really excited about it. But I'm an Ohio girl, and so my undergrad is from the Ohio State University. I would be amiss if I did not say it correctly. And my Master's of Library Sciences from University of Wisconsin. So.
Okay, go ahead, Corey.
So compared to other positions, what have been some like unique challenges that have been trying to get stuff underway at the library at EIU, like compared to other places you've been?
Well, I was at the same academic institution for my undergraduate, from my first master's, and then for 18 years. And I was the guy who could remember, like, oh, this came up before, and like, what did we do then? Oh, yeah. Or, someone could, I would be in a meeting, I'm like, I bet you we should talk to so-and-so. Like now, I'm completely the new kid.
Yeah.
And so that's very different. And I'll give you an example of what that's like in my daily experience. I'm like, what if, and then Amy says, oh yeah, we do that. So that's like, but very graciously and nice. And for me, it's, I really think I know academic libraries. And it's bringing that model, the things, how our field has evolved. And, and I've come to a place that's evolved right along with it. The Booth Library, the folks in it have been growing it, and it's doing the stuff that, are the trends in our field. And, I'll bring my contributions, but I guess being the newbie is kind of a new thing for me. So.
Anything you want to add on that, Amy?
No, it's just such a wonderful place to work, and the students are so willing to give things a whirl, and we'll have these crazy ideas, and they seem to kind of like go along with us. So,
Tough question in front of your boss. How would you describe his leadership style?
Brian is a very giving person who wants to see, literally wants to see everybody be successful, and he's going to do whatever it takes to make that happen.
And when do you think that you maybe will incorporate any of your ideas, or are you kind of in that evaluation stage right now?
No, I mean, I use a term that, I think is a little cringy. I say ideation. And so we spend a lot of time in from the day I came in, and we're making changes, in the way in which we provide services. But these are ideas that, these aren't my ideas. They're the ideas that we're working on collaboratively. The faculty and the staff are really, bright and giving, and we're the changes started, and they're ongoing, and just super collaborative.
We're about out of time, but do you have a favorite part of Booth that you love to maybe go once a day and just kind of check out?
Oh, geez, that's tough.
Or Amy, you can answer that too. I mean, I don't know.
I like the RES desk, the research engagement and scholarship desk. I love the foyer, like the historic
the
North
foyer.
interests. I love the CSI, which we talked about before.
I really love the foyer just because that's the Harry Potter part of the library.
Well, thanks so much for coming in. We're out of time. Appreciate it so much.